Hey guys, welcome to Wall Street, where we elevate you. Most people would assume that it is quite literally impossible to retire a millionaire on a low salary, considering the average hourly wage in the US is only about $15 per hour or roughly $2,000 per month after taxes. But is it impossible to retire a millionaire on a low salary? Well, the answer is no. Because if it was impossible, then people like Ronald Reid and Chris Groner wouldn't have been able to build massive $8 million and $7+ million fortunes while having a low salary. You see, Ronald was a janitor who made a little over $20,000 per year, and Grace was the secretary not making much more. Clearly, they had some kind of a secret, right? Something that they knew that the rest of us wouldn't know. Honestly, yes. I suppose it is kind of a secret, otherwise, everybody would retire a millionaire. But that's not the case. In fact, only 16% of Americans retire with $1 million in savings. But that ends right now because in this video today, we're going to be unlocking all of the secrets to investing and becoming a millionaire on a low salary. Secret number 1: the secret wealth formula that makes the rich get richer. There's actually a formula that millionaires use to help them build their wealth. It's something that every millionaire does and understands about their money that literally nobody else would. You see, here's the thing. For the non-wealthy, when they get paid, the route that their money takes looks like this. Their income pays for their expenses. Things as rent, mortgage, insurance, food, and electricity. And then after they pay for the expenses, they buy or pay for liabilities. Liabilities like consumer loans, credit card debt, a car, and yes, contrary to the incorrect belief, a mortgage on your primary residence is not an asset because it does not make you money. But if you were to rent out part of your home to a tenant and that tenant paid rent which paid for the mortgage, then yes, your primary residence would then become an asset, but outside of that, it's not an asset. It's a liability because it takes money out of your pocket. Now, let's go and take a look at the money route for the wealthy. They get paid. Their income pays for their expenses because literally nobody in the world has zero expenses. But after the expenses, this is where things get really interesting because instead of spending their money on liabilities, things that take money out of their pocket, they instead buy assets. Things that put money into their pockets. They buy things like stocks, bonds, real estate, and businesses. But here's where things start to get very juicy. If we look at the non-wealthy route again, we find that what happens to their money after they buy liabilities is that, interestingly, enough of those liabilities then circle around and become expenses. And oftentimes, these liabilities turn into recurring expenses. This means that in order for the non-wealthy to continue having enough money to pay for their expenses, they have to continue using their time to make money to fund their lifestyle. However, if we take a look at the wealthy money route, we find that the wealthy are buying assets instead of liabilities. And so, the path their money takes after they buy assets is that instead of the money coming in and disappearing into thin air, their money actually move back into the income column in the form of dividends from their stocks, interest from their bonds, rental income from real estate, and profits from their businesses. So now, in addition to their main source of income, they have even more money. They can then reinvest back into buying even more assets, which then further increases how much income they have, and this cycle just continues on and on. And this is the reason why the rich keeps getting richer. By this, I am not saying that you cannot buy nice things. I think that living a life where you can't enjoy the things that you want will make you miserable. However, you do need to understand the difference between an asset and a liability. If you want a bigger, nicer home or a faster car, buy assets that will generate enough income to pay for the mortgage on the bigger, nicer home or to pay for the car payment on that faster car. Secret number 2. Find a way to invest no matter what. The single biggest mistake that you can make financially is assuming that just because you have a low salary, you cannot start investing. Don't wait until you have a lot of money to start investing. The whole point of investing your money is to grow your money. So it doesn't matter if you're starting with $10,000 or $10. Seriously, think about this for a second. Roughly 80% of millionaires in America are first generation rich, as in, they did not inherit the money. They started from nothing just like most people earning very low salaries right now. If these millionaires who started from nothing said to themselves, you know what? I'm going to wait until I become a millionaire before I start investing, then people like Ronald Reed, who grew up on a poor farm and worked for minimum wage all of his life, would have never made millions of dollars because he would have said to himself, well, I grew up on a poor farm and I have a low salary job, so I can't start investing. Don't do that. Secret number 3 is that millionaires don't put all of their eggs into one basket. At least not if they want to get maximum returns. I mean, even in Grace's case, she invested in one single stock over a 75-year period and earned $7.2 million. However, if Grace would have diversified her portfolio more and invested broadly in the stock market and other assets, then she could have nearly quadrupled her wealth. For example, let's say that Grace invested $500 per month into a broadly diversified ETF, something like VTI or the Vanguard Total Stock Market ETF. This ETF holds over 4,000 stocks, and so when you buy even just one share of this ETF, you immediately give your portfolio exposure to over 4,000 plus stocks with an average of 8% returns per year. By investing $500 per month, she would have grown a net worth of over $25.8 million, significantly higher than the $7.2 million she has. This is a very generalized example, but the point that I want to make to you is that if you just consistently invest in the stock market over a long period of time with a diversified portfolio of stocks and other assets, you can build wealth over time even on a low salary. Investing in the stock market is just one piece of the puzzle. Most millionaires today understand the importance of diversifying their portfolios even outside of the stock market. And unlike Ronald and Grace, who could really only invest in the stock market, we live in a time where buying assets outside of the stock market is more accessible than they have ever been before, which is very critical, especially during times of high inflation and rising interest rates when the stock market is taking a beating. Buying assets like real estate and artwork can help protect you from inflation. Did you know that contemporary art prices have outperformed the S&P 500's total return by 164% over the past 26 years? And with a new engaging platform called Masterworks, you can now buy and sell fractional shares in high-value works of art. I mean, we're talking Picasso, Banksy, Jean-Michel Basquiat, Claude Monet, and Andy Warhol. Millionaires and billionaires have been quietly diversifying their portfolios for years with art, and honestly, fine art used to be only accessible to the super wealthy. But now, all of us have access to what JP Morgan has called one of the biggest, highest performing alternative assets. Masterworks has become one of the largest buyers in the art market today, and since 2017, they have sold 3 paintings, and each of them returning over 30 net IRR to investors. I hope you're enjoying this video so far. Please make sure to give it a thumbs up, and if you are new to this channel, feel free to smash the subscribe button at any time, then turn on the notification bell beside it. Moving on to secret number 4. They don't try to time the market. People who have built million-dollar net worths understand that trying to time the market is a fool's errand. The only types of investors who can make money by timing the market are day traders. These are people who buy and sell stocks, and they try to take advantage of the market volatility and capture small amounts of profit over short periods of time. However, there is a reason why 90% of day traders lose more money than they make. And it's because it's insanely difficult to time the market, and the 10% of people who can make money by timing the market either aren't profiting enough to make a sustainable living, or if they are making a profit, they're typically only right at about 60% of the time, and the other 40% of the time, they are losing money. Millionaires like Ronald Reed understand that the best way to build wealth in the stock market is by taking a long-term, buy and hold investing approach. In other words, when you buy a stock, you're buying it with the intention of holding onto it for the next 10, 15, 25, or even 40 plus years. This is what Gracie Griner did. She worked as a secretary at Abbott Pharmaceuticals for 43 years. In her first year working for Abbott, she bought 3 shares. Yes, 3 shares of Abbott stock for a total investment of $180. She then held onto the stock for the next 75 years and reinvested all of the dividend payments from the stock. Abbott stock split many times over. With her reinvesting the dividends, she died with over 100,000 shares of Abbott stock valued at about $7.2 million. The key takeaway here is that she bought the stock and then she held onto it. If Grace would have done what most investors do nowadays and bought those 3 shares of Abbott at $180, and 2 days later when the stock price dropped to $170, she panicked and sold off, she would have lost $10 instead. In fact, did you know that if you invested $10,000 into the stock market over the 20-year period between January 3rd, 2000 and December 31, 2019, and if you would have missed even just 20 of the best days on the market, that your investment returns would be close to zero, and to add salt to the injury, you're actually technically losing money due to inflation. This is why trying to time the market is a losing strategy. As the saying goes, time in the market beats timing the market, and this actually brings up a very critical point when it comes to investing in the stock market and trying to build your wealth on a low salary. Despite how little money you have, there's something that every millionaire does in the stock market that is completely free. Doing that will give you a drastically better chance of becoming a millionaire, and we'll talk about that in a second. Secret number 5. Millionaires don't sell their investments when their prices drop. The market is like a roller coaster with ups and downs. Anybody who's built wealth in the market understands this, and so when the stock market is experiencing a downturn, everybody in the news is saying that we're heading toward the next financial crisis. But millionaires understand that all this is just hyperbole. In other words, they keep a cool head and they just stay patient. They don't sell their investments because they understand that investing is a long-term game. And over the long term, investing in the stock market has always been a winning strategy. The average investor today, though, does not think long-term. When the stock market is hitting all-time highs, they're putting all of their money into the stock market. But then, when the market is experiencing a downturn, they refuse to invest their money, and even worse, they sell their stocks for a loss. This is a losing strategy, and is the reason why it's difficult for most people to be able to build wealth. Moving on to secret number 6. Secret number 6 is having multiple streams of income. Wealthy people do not rely on a single source of income. And what's even more fascinating is that you can even see the same dynamic within companies. For example, Amazon isn't just in the e-commerce business with Amazon.com. Jeff Bezos was aware that only depending on Amazon.com to bring in revenue for the company was a very dangerous position to be in. Because what happens if Amazon.com were to disappear? What would become of Amazon? And so they did the smart thing. They diversified their streams of revenue. And likewise, millionaires understand the secret. They too focus on diversifying their income. You can do the same as well. The easiest way for you to start building multiple streams of income is by doing the following. Get a side hustle, preferably a scalable one, and start investing in dividend stocks. For example, you can start side hustle by developing businesses such as blogging, YouTube channel, and affiliate marketing. And you can scale all of these side hustles and use income from these side hustles to bring you to a new place financially. Find business ideas you can start with very little money. In addition to side hustle, investing in dividend stocks is another way to almost immediately start earning extra income. Dividend stocks are stocks that pay you dividends, and dividends are essentially just paychecks from a company. Certain companies will pay you money every quarter or sometimes every month for owning shares of their stock. This is actually what Ronald Read did. He only focused on investing in dividend-paying stocks like Johnson & Johnson, Procter & Gamble, JP Morgan, Chase, and over 90 other stocks. He then reinvested all of the dividends that he earned from these stocks back into buying even more dividend-paying stocks, and then he just repeated this process over and over again, and that's how he built his wealth. Secret number 7. Millionaires focus on their savings rate. Your savings rate is how much of your total salary you save. For example, if you saved and invested $2,500 of your $50,000 income per year, then your savings rate would be 5% because $2,500 is 5% of 50,000. And that $2,500 is invested to generate more income instead of leaving it sitting in the bank. Building wealth on a low salary can be challenging, but with a little patience and discipline, it is definitely possible. And that's it for today's video, friends. I hope you enjoyed this video and found the insights helpful. Make sure to give it a thumbs up, and if you are new to this channel, hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell beside it so you are the first one to see the new videos. Also, don't forget to click and share so that more people can see this video. Thanks for watching. Until next time, this is Wealth Street.